Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Journey. This is the platform where entrepreneurs really shine and share with us their journey. And I have a gentleman here next to me. Oh, my goodness. I would say we've known each other for almost a decade. And following him and seeing him through his journey through success, talking about a real serial entrepreneur, it's him. Very few people truly inspire me. Truly, like there's just a very small handful. I truly believe from the beginning of my entrepreneur journey was relationship is everything. And you want to know and be around people super successful. And I've gone through some pictures in our kitchen that we have that you holding my children, like my little baby boys, how they're growing up. Japan, when you're talking about Japan, we were there together too. And I think iron does sharpen iron.
Absolutely.
And being next to or even close to around the vicinity of people who are just completely like bulldozing the industry, the commitment, it is absolutely amazing. That's why you're here, Doug. That's why I want you to know that. And the journey for us, I mean, people want to be an entrepreneur, Doug, they have a general, they mean well, but what does it truly take, Doug? Can you share with us that?
Well, it takes a lot. I mean, it's more than most people want. A lot of times people think that they want to be an entrepreneur because they don't want to have a boss. Mm-hmm. And they want to be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it. And I jokingly tell people all the time now, I just basically work part-time now, okay? I just work really half days. So half day for me is from about 7 in the morning till 7 at night, typically 6 or 7 days a week. And when they're thinking of half
that's
day,
a good joke.
Yeah, they're thinking from, like 8 in the morning till noon or something, and they just goof around the rest of the day, or they go to work at noon and leave at 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. And that's not what this business is all about, being an entrepreneur. And with ambient energy, people want to have some freedom in life. They want to be able to make more money, all of those things. But you get in, you get out of life what you put into life. So if you put in a minimal amount, you're going to get out a minimal amount. So for me, I like to grind. I like to go to work and really get after it.
There is a moment in time in your life, Doug, and this is where I really want to get at. Some people inspire to be like a chef. Some people aspire to be like a mechanic. There's something that happened in your life, Doug. I want you, if you can share with the viewer, that pivotal moment where it snapped and says, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm not going to flip burgers. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, my whole life, I've always wanted to make money. I've always wanted freedom. Me personally, I mean, when I was growing up, I didn't want to have to get money from my family. I didn't want my parents to have to give me different things. I grew up in East Texas, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. We didn't really have anything. I always had clothes. I always had, food, but never anything, significant. And I always wanted to have stuff. And money gives you the ability to do things. It gives you tools. It gives you ability to, whether it's go on a vacation or whether it's, put your kids in a certain school or whether it's to just, have more of something. Money is a tool that you can use for that. So I always wanted that even as a young kid. I wanted that ability to make choices on what I was going to do. So I moved out. I graduated high school when I was 17, went to work. And for me, it's just an intrinsic motivation. Now, I went through some hard times too. It ain't always the peaches and cream.
Was there a person, a situation where you did that come to Jesus moment where I'm like, dude, I'm an entrepreneur. I know you've always been self-motivated, but something must have happened somewhere.
I mean, I had an accident whenever I was about 19 years old, broke my hand, had 8 pins, put in my hand. And I had, at that point, 2 kids. I had one that was a 6-month-old baby. I had a son that was 2 years old. And it was a situation where I truly was so broke. I couldn't afford to put my kids through to get their shots. Okay. Their vaccinations to go to daycare. I couldn't pay for that. I had to take them to the county to get that done. And I just in my mind made a commitment, you know what, God willing, I will never be broke again. Now, I'm on the other end of that spectrum, and now it's like I don't know how to turn it off so much. I'm doing better than broke for sure. I'm doing better than okay. But, I really just grind to make as much as I possibly can out of every single situation. So for me, that was the kind of turning point in that. And, it's just a matter of earning enough money to do everything that I need to do, put a little bit aside, and then create a legacy.
What's motivating you now? I know, like, you've accomplished so much, Doug. You're the national consultant. You're part of Yellow Jackets Club. You've made some ridiculous amount of income. And people still strive for more. A lot of just regular viewers and people said, man, if I make this, I'm going to be on Mai Tai. I drink a Mai Tai on the beach and whatnot. For Doug Parker, what's driving you right now, Doug?
Yeah, well, no Mai Tais for me. But, if that's your deal, awesome. So life deals you different things. So a lot of people may know who I am. They may think, oh, I've just got a charmed life and everything is peaches and cream. But, I went through hard times, when I broke my hand. You well know, I have a wife that went through some health issues, about 7 years ago, and there's just different things that happen. And so for us right now, our primary goal is building a safe house for my wife where she doesn't have any toxic chemicals that are around her, living a life that allows her to have specific foods and, as crazy as it sounds, water and oxygen. I mean, just things that are very pure to help her live a certain lifestyle. And it costs a lot of money to do those things. Again, she had jokingly said something the other day just about there was a time in her life where maybe she was getting some red bottom shoes or whatever, I'd spend some money on this or that. But we're spending more money than we ever have on things for her, but it's really health related. And so it's not really all that fun and exciting, but from a standpoint of she's alive and she's healthy and she's getting better every day, it's awesome to have those kinds of things. And that's what an entrepreneur does. So for me, I don't turn it off because that's what I'm using these resources for. Okay? If you're using it just to have a stack of money sitting aside, nobody really wants a stack of money. It doesn't do you any good. It's what are you going to do with the money? What are you going to do with those resources? So for me, that's what we're currently doing with it, is trying to help her be as healthy as possible.
Look at that. And I know you mentioned a lot of priorities in your life. Can you give me one thing? What's important for Doug right now?
I'm saying, leaving a legacy. It's a financial legacy, a legacy with my kids, a legacy with my granddaughter. And that's something that can live on generation after generation. It talks about in Proverbs how a wise man lives an inheritance for his children's children. And so for me, that's something that I'm continuing to work on. I mean, I'm not there yet. I think I'm doing better than maybe my parents did. I've got a great relationship with my parents, but the next generation's got a little better, and I'm hoping to pass that on to my kids and then ultimately to their kids.
They're great people, by the way.
Well, I appreciate that. I
spent a day there with hunting there with my son. Actually with them, it was really fun.
Absolutely.
And Doug, I know my goodness, if I could tell you this topic, it'd be a pivotal. You actually live your incarnated discipline, I would definitely say. The topic about discipline. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I truly believe, in my own point of view, it's a pillar. It's a true pillar that makes a successful person a successful person. And I think you should share with the viewer your definition of discipline, what it is, how to apply it, and how do you discipline yourself or, your business?
Sure. So a couple things there. I would say that you're going to have discipline in your life no matter what. Okay. We've all, been a child at some point in life, and your parents discipline you. Different people have different ways of disciplining. It might be speaking to them and maybe spanking their hind end. And I had plenty of that growing up. But I learned in life that I much prefer to administer discipline as opposed to having someone administer it to me. And what I mean by that is, when you're a kid, somebody can tell you something, you can listen, and if you don't, you can get a spanking. Okay. I don't like getting spankings. Okay. But sometimes I did what I wanted to do and took them. But at the end of the day, when you grow up, they don't really give you spankings anymore. What they do is, maybe it's something where they don't do business with you. Okay. Somebody doesn't like your attitude. Somebody doesn't like the way that you're conducting yourselves. And so what happens is, you lose business out of it. If you lose business, you lose money, you lose those resources, and now you don't get to do things that you want to do. So you're going to have some discipline administering your life no matter what. I prefer to have discipline intrinsically, for me to be disciplining myself. So what does that look like? Well, for me, it starts very simply the day before, okay? So last night, I went to bed at about 8:45. I got in bed. I have a nightly routine that I try to get a certain amount of rest every single night. I get that rest. I try to sleep as great as I possibly can. And then I wake up about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I have an alarm that's set every single day for 6 o'clock that I never use to wake up. It goes off and I'm already awake. But I woke up this morning I think it was about 4:30, just kind of thinking through, what does my day look like? What have I got going on? I can ease into my day. I watch a little sports center because I like to just see what's going on in the sports world. Then I get up, I go to work, and I'm normally in the office at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. So I can't really call anybody. Calling people is a big part of our business, talking to people, communicating, but you can't talk to people that early in the morning typically. So what I do is I get through all of my email. I get through any administrative work I can do. So by 9 o'clock a.m., I am ready to go. I can take phone calls. I can talk to people. I can have people that come in the office and visit with them about what's going on. And me personally, I like having an office environment. I know a lot of people like to work from home.
It's true.
There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't like to do that because at some point, if I'm at home, my dog will come up to me and wag her little tail, want to jump in my lap and make me to pet her. And I'm not careful, my wife will walk by. And just bottom line is, stuff will happen and it'll be where I'm not focused on what I need to be focused on. Okay. And so from basically 9 a.m. till 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, for me, that's my game time to make a living. So that's my discipline. Again, it comes back to that half day
environment. Yeah, you put yourself in an environment.
Put myself in an environment where it's game time, where I can go to work, put my headset on, make phone calls, and do what I do.
Look at that. Because I remember one time, you didn't mention to me, I had a little struggling moment, and every entrepreneur will have that. Doug just won't reveal it, period. He's just, I'm going to beast mode it through. So I called him up one time, and this is during my entrepreneur journey, I stumbled on some challenges. Called Doug, said, Doug, this and that happened. And I expected a little bit of empathy, a little bit of pity. You know what he told me? He said, no one cares about your complaint. And he lives that. He's like, no one cares about you. Just whatever it is, just move on. Just get rid of only good sounds you, whatever that quote moment was. Doug, I want them to hear it. This is every entrepreneur is going to go through it.
Sure.
And then you got to hear this because I went through it, and this is what happened.
So I'll tell you this. For me personally, I go through all kinds of stuff. Okay, so it's not a question of if you're going to go through something or if I went through something, and if I'm going to go through more. There's no question about it. When you're doing nothing will happen to you, and that's fine. You just have nothing to worry about except for all the bills to pay, right? So for me, it's a situation where when something happens, nobody cares, okay? Nobody cares. I've got a T-shirt that says, nobody cares, work harder, okay?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And when you called me, and I want to share this little part of it, you and I got to the point where you were kind of like a mentor at some point, and then we kind of got a little bit more on kind of a little bit more of a common ground. I was an executive consultant, you were a national, but we shared a lot of information together and a lot of stuff, and you were just frustrated with something, and you weren't calling to have a pity party. You were just saying, let's talk through this. And so I'm talking to you, but what you said was, where I smacked you, is you said something to the effect of, man, hope I don't have to become a teacher again. And what I said to you was, you're never going to become a teacher again. And if you ever say that again, then don't call me no more, okay? Because I'm like, you're never going to be a teacher again. You have a lifestyle that a teacher will not allow you to be anymore, okay? And so obviously you're going to work this out, okay? But no matter what, you're a winner. You're going to find a way to win, and you're going to do something else. So quit being a crybaby, and let's go to work. You know what I mean?
I love that.
That's what it boils down to. You just have to block it out, and you can't do anything about a lot of stuff. Okay. And what happens with so many people is they let the things out of their control interfere with the things that are within their control. And what you had called me about, it was something that was not within your control. Okay. So then you're like, well, what do I do about it? It's like, there's nothing you can do about it except for just keep pushing forward. Yeah. And that's ultimately what you did, and you've continued to have success. And guess what, Tien? You're going to have some other things that are going to be struggles for you.
Oh, yeah. And it won't be the last one.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. And the next time, you call me with it, I'll listen to you for a few seconds.
And I know exactly what Doug's going to say because it echoes in my brain.
Yeah, just it reminds me of a book by Grant Cardone. You know what I mean? And it's the 10X rule. And in that book, one of my favorite chapters, it talks about, quit being a crybaby little bee. Yeah. And
he actually said on his audio.
He does, yeah. And it's just the facts. Yeah. I mean, you can be a crybaby about stuff. I mean, oh, poor me. Oh, I broke my hand. Oh, my wife got sick. Oh, whatever else is going to happen to me in life. Well, that doesn't matter. At some point, we got to make it happen. I mean, it matters to me. Yeah. Sure, it matters to my wife. But imagine that something bad like that happened and she got sick and I didn't have the financial resources to take care of her. Well, wouldn't that be really bad?
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah, for sure, because that's something that is not having a Mai Tai. That's not going on vacation. That's like life or death kind of stuff we're talking about, in my case, with that. And having that money gives me those resources to help provide for her in a better way.
Yes. And upon ending, there's two sections on just putting a little cap on this and button things up. Doug, I know you're a humble dude. You won't say it. I will, and there's a lot of things you've accomplished, and I want to know all these years, all your achievement. What are you proud of? For you yourself, what's that deep down inside where you could stop, close your eyes a little bit, and it makes you smile? What would that be?
Yeah, there's a couple things. So I would say there's this country song that
the song makes you proud. Well, come on, man. I'm just kidding.
It says on there. It says I'm gonna be somebody someday. Yeah, and it's by a guy named I think it's Travis Tritt, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but like I said, I came from really nothing. I never even failed out of college. I never even applied for college. I never got rejected from college. I never been one day in my life. Okay. But I've had the opportunity to pay for 3 educations, for my wife, because she went to college, but I ultimately paid for it. Both my kids have graduated. My son's a master barber. My daughter has got a master's in leadership. And everybody's debt free. And so, I keep thinking I'm going to be somebody someday. Okay. Even to this day. I mean, I don't think I'm done yet. I think I've accomplished a few things, and that's awesome, but I'm still not done yet. I think the sky's the limit. I think that what's on the other side is even better. And so I think creating that legacy to me, I think is something to be proud of, trying to, the one thing, and I've talked to my kids about this recently because they're 26 and 28 now. And I basically said, all I ever tried to do for you guys was to give you more opportunity than I had. Now, what you do with it is up to you, but I tried to give my children more opportunity than I had to put them in a better position to give their kids more opportunity. And if you can do that generationally for several generations, it's amazing what can get accomplished. So I still hope to see where I'm going to be someday. I hope I'm going to be somebody someday.
Have you felt like you did that?
I mean, I think
Give them more opportunities than you had.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, both of my kids are educated. They're both professionals in their trade. They're successful in life. I think that the way I was raised, was great. But then there's a few things that could have gotten better. I think that I did a better job raising my kids, hopefully, than my parents did, with all due respect. But I hope that they will take the things that I did well and do them even better. And I hope that the things that I didn't do quite as well as I should have, that they'll recognize that and do that even better. So I think we're not done yet. That's what I really think. I mean, I'm proud of where we're at right now, but I'm even more proud of the seeds that have been planted and then where they'll sprout up and what they'll fruit and multiply in the future.
Yeah, closing remarks, Doug. It's just amazing to be a part of your journey through life. Now, we don't talk to each other every day. We don't. But when we do, there's so much nuggets we throw at each other, and we leave and we kind of chew on it, and boom, let's make our business better. Closing remarks. What will you share with the viewers out there about just your principles of life? Anything you want to share with the viewers?
Sure. So I would say a few things. Number one, Tien, I mean, you get out of life what you put into it. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And if you're not satisfied with what you have in life right now, then you got to do something about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people just like to complain, and that doesn't get you anywhere. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to visit with someone that's maybe going to keep you aligned. You talked about how iron sharpens iron.
Oh yeah, it does.
If you're hanging around a bunch of, let's say, 4 or 5 losers, you're likely to be the next loser. If you hang around 4 or 5 millionaires, there's a pretty good chance you'll be the next millionaire. That's just how life works, because that success rubs off on people. Okay, but unfortunately, so does other stuff, right? And so if you hang out with people that aren't guiding you in the right direction, it's problematic. But find the people that you talk to. I'd heard something the other day about how pity parties really aren't that fun. Because there really only one person shows up to them. Okay, that's really all it boils down to. And so what you got to do is you got to find somebody that you can talk to and get it off your chest. But they will give you direction and say, hey, let's work through this. Get beyond it, whether it's a counselor, whether it's a friend that'll keep you accountable.
It gives a little mental health.
Yeah, but you don't want to just have a bunch of people that are just negative Nancy's and they just drag you down. They're like the crabs in the barrel, just dragging you down. Nobody wants that to be the case. So figure out people that are going to keep you motivated, pumped up, and then move forward with that.
Amen. And this is a little bonus thing I want Doug just to know. Doug, Ambition's coming up. It's just a pivotal moment in the company event. What does it mean to you? Like, put all ambit aside, entrepreneur aside a little bit, just for 1 second with me. What does it mean to you to be bold?
To be bold, well, I said there's a whole bunch of stuff there. When you unpack that, being bold is maybe doing what you really want to do and not worrying about everybody else. Okay, a lot of times, we'll look at stuff, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram, some kind of social media, and we are looking at other people's lives and looking how our lives maybe don't measure up to their best part of their whole entire life they could put on the internet, right? And you may be your lowest point of it. But being bold, I would say, is just doing what you love to do. And that could be providing for your family. It could be going on vacations. It could be doing a myriad of different things, but doing what you love to do and then not making any excuses, no explanations, just going out there, getting it done, and having fun with what you're doing.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to wrap this up. But Doug, just all these minutes and time is very precious for me, knowing that just to have you here in the seat here at the journey in this podcast. I want to thank you, and on behalf of all the viewers, just thank you for your time, Doug.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I hope that everybody got a lot of good information.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.